guitar packed up.
Which button do I click? There's 4.
The one that points to the right. Okay. Okay.
All right. So my hook, as I was told to do, is a fact that I learned in the very first research task that I did for my research project. From the Atlantic.com, 40 million Americans in the last 25 years have left church. 25 years. That's an average of 1,600,000 people every year. And so I saw that in the beginning. That's just church in general, not a Christian church, not a Jewish or Muslim. Every church, 1,600,000 people average every year. So I was thinking, why? I didn't turn the mic on.
Yeah.
It's on now. All right. So my presentation is on the decline in church attendance. I started my senior seminar project making podcasts, like little podcast episodes about the Bible. I took a chapter from the Bible and I annotated it and I read it and I did a summary on it and then I gave a little takeaway. So that was my project. And my research project is what I kind of focused on a little bit, one aspect of my research project. The whole project was the decline in Christianity, but it went a little bit sideways into the decline in religion because there was just so much. And I found in my research that through like all of the religions, all of them are declining, not just Christianity, which is what I was going to focus on. I chose this topic through TikTok, if you can believe it. I know, we're all shocked. I was scrolling through TikTok, and if you have TikTok, you probably know that there's those little clips of like a TV show or a movie, and then it ends right at like a good part. So you have to keep watching. You guys know what I'm talking about? So it was a Chicago Med episode. And I hate medical TV shows. It's so boring, but this one, I got it. I was like, wow, this is really interesting. So I kept watching, and I watched like half of this episode. And then in the end, it was a religious family that was like abusing this girl in the name of their religion. And I watched that, and I sat there for a minute. I was like, what? I watched all of this, and that was the takeaway. And I realized that's how they get you. That's how they do it. And I didn't like it. So that's why I did my research project on the decline in Christianity and like why these people, like in the media and in everyday life, they just think, oh, church is like, oh, it's a cult, which I'm going to get into that. That's a topic that I'm going to go into. They think it's a cult. They think it's boring. It's all this. But it's not. It's not. So my first topic was timing and sports. So through our ever-changing world that we have, they focus on kids' activities and sports and other events like the fairs and amusement parks. You can do whatever you want to do on the weekends. But before, 30, 40, 50 years ago, it was always church. You go to church on Sunday. Things were closed on Sunday, so you could go to church. Now, everything's open on Sunday, except for the bank, which, that's inconvenient. So I did a poll through one of my research tasks that was sent out to all of BHS, and I got a lot more responses than I was expecting. I got a total of 83, and I was thinking maybe somewhere in the 20s. So I was pleasantly surprised. In the poll, one of my questions I asked was, do you go to church? 54% of people said not at all, 22% of people said only on special occasions, and only 14% of people said that they went every single week. Now, I'm going to be honest, I said I don't go at all. So, I don't go at all, which is fine. The following question turned out to be the most important question on my poll. It was, why do you go to church or why don't you go to church? And there was a lot of answers. Some of them were simple, because Jesus, or just good luck with your project, which that was one of my favorites. Not even lying. So there were some that were vague and some that really got into it. But there was a lot of trending responses. And one of the first ones that I noticed was one that aligned with one of my articles that I read for a research task in the project. And it was because of sports and timing that families kind of just fade out of going to church and practicing religion. And it was, I'm going to butcher this poor guy's name, but it's Carey Nieuwhof. I don't know, that's probably not how you say it. But he wrote the article, and he's a renowned spiritual leader. He's a best-selling author, public speaker, and a church planter, which I learned is someone who creates new churches. He created a list of 10 reasons why there's a decline in church attendance, and that's what I did my project on. And his reason number 2 on his list aligned pretty much perfectly with mine. It was events, sports, kids' activities on weekends that usually take up a lot of time. That is why there's a lot of decline in religion, because you do all these activities. If it's half a year sport, it's a full year sport, you're away on the weekend, then you just don't go the next weekend because you're tired, or the next weekend, and then you have another game or practice or something on the weekend. And I can tell you from experience, I was an athlete for 13 years, and I had many competitions where I was away for a weekend for multiple days at a time, so we just didn't go to church. And we started out going to church, my family and I, but we kind of just faded out of it. In the same poll that I sent out, in the same response to the same question, why do you go to church, why don't you go to church? Another trend in responses that I got was a preference to practice your religion at home, which is completely fair. And during the pandemic, online options for church services became available, and they have not gone away, and I don't see them going away at any time in the future. Many churches, they can stream their services, so they can record it, post it online on YouTube, on their website, or they just have it live. So you can find full church services, masses, sermons, anything online. So that is kind of replacing church. We live in a modern world, so now we go to church or we stay at home. If you stay at home, you might not watch the sermon. So there's a lot of decline on the attendance on these streams as well. One of the responses to my question related to the pandemic and to the research from this poor guy that I'm going to butcher his name, Carrie Newolf, I can't say it. It was because of the pandemic and all these church services online, there's a big decline. And that was a trending topic. And the response that I picked out was, I stopped during the pandemic, stopped during COVID, but I never got back in the habit. Which is not great. Not always what you want to hear. But yeah. In the same poll, to the same question that I've been talking about, I received many of the same responses saying that these people, they used to go to church and they just don't go anymore. And I can totally relate to that. My family can relate to that. My mom, my dad. We can relate to that. We used to go to church every Sunday, and then just one day, I don't even know when, we just stopped going. So we faded out of it. And it tended to be on my responses that personal and family preferences, such as it's just not for me, or we went with my grandmother a couple times, or we only go on Christmas and Easter, you just don't go a lot anymore. And then I have a little, this is my cult references here. In my responses to the same question, why do you go to church, why don't you go to church, there was a lot of responses of, it's a cult, it's not for me, as I said. And I think it's a waste of time. A lot of things that were just straight to the point. But there wasn't a lot of reasons why. Like, why do you think it's a cult? Why is it not for you? Why is it a waste of time? And I didn't record emails or names, so I can't really go ask. But if you did answer that, please come tell me. Or I'd like to know why. So throughout my project, my research project, my topic was decline in Christianity. I found Christianity isn't the only religion that's declining. Almost all of them are. As a result of the decline, church attendance is declining as well. There's a whole host of reasons why people aren't going to church. Some of them I said, some that I can't say here. The three main reasons that I found through my research and through research I found during my research tasks were lack of time and commitment, the choice to do it at home, and the unfortunate event that just keeps becoming more common and more common, which is you fade out of the religion. You go when you're younger with your family, and then you just stop. I'm forgetting to click the button. So yeah, that's all.
Great.
Any questions?
All right.
Let me just, I knew it.
Thank you for your presentation, Gracie. I wonder, did doing this research lead to any reflection in your own life about the value of being in a church or not in a church and how that changed? It sounds like that was a change that's occurred in your life.
Yeah.
What does it make you reflect about your own experience?
I went to a different church. I used to go to Christ the King in Concord, and my mom and I, over the summer, we tried a new church in Manchester that's like completely different from the Catholic Church. Like the Catholic Church is very, like you stand up, you sit down, you pray, you sing the songs. Over at this new church, it's Life Church in Manchester, it was like a rock party for Jesus. It was a lot of fun. So we've been going there every once in a while too. So through all this research, I was realizing, maybe I should go to church too. I mean, I used to, why not? It's like an hour, 2 hours a week. I can take the time out. Mr. Torrey?
First of all, I just want to commend you for choosing this topic. Religion is hard to discuss or present about in front of a larger audience, so I really admire and appreciate that. Any of the data and research that you found, did it break down maybe differences state by state? Was this all United States data that you were seeing in this article?
Yeah, I think it was all United States. There was a couple things that I found early on in my project that were like in Germany and Switzerland and stuff like that, but I try not to focus too much on that one. I didn't get anything state by state though, but that's actually a good point. I'll look into that.
So you seem to, you seem to think that going to church is like a good thing, right?
Yes.
So, I've only been to church like a couple of times in my life. So what do you see that's really good?
I think that going to church it's like a time that you set aside to spend time with God and with Jesus. I think that's like a good, like you're not distracted by your phone, you're not distracted by what's going on the news or what's going on TV, what my brother's playing on his PlayStation. It's just time that I can put aside to spend with my God and my Savior. Tina.
As part of your project, did you begin to attend church on Sundays more often?
That wasn't a part of my project, but it was a result of my project. Yeah.
Do you think that churches that accept other beliefs are also valid?
Yeah. Yeah. What am I going to say? No.
Nice work.